Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So lots to negotiate on this video today, but I'm just going to give you some additional information in regards to Youri Tielemans, of course. I think I updated you about him, was it about 2 or 3 weeks ago, because obviously his future is up in the air at the moment, and I think Youri Tielemans is aware of the speculation. Obviously, Youri Tielemans has had about 5-6 months experience under his belt in the Premier League, because obviously, he's been on loan with Leicester, but I think from his own perspective, he's set to return to Monaco. But Youri Tielemans was pivotal in Leicester's transformation under Brendan Rodgers. Now, I think Leicester are keen on getting him on a permanent deal. I think Leicester have been in talks with Monaco about this, but it does say Manchester United are interested. It also says that Tottenham are interested, but I think Manchester United are obviously seeing him as a replacement for Paul Pogba. If Paul Pogba, of course, is to leave Manchester United, there's still a possibility chance that Paul Pogba could remain at the football club. But Youri Tielemans is 22 years of age, so he's still very young. Obviously, he's got a lot of development in him, but like I said, he's been very, very impressive throughout his loan spell with Leicester. Initially, he's at Monaco. Obviously, Monaco got him for around £21 million from Anderlecht, back in 2017. He initially began his career with Anderlecht, of course, made 185 appearances, obviously scored 35 goals across 4 seasons. I think won the league title twice. I think initially, Monaco rate Youri Tielemans at around £40 million. I think he's under contract with them until 2022. I think also Arsenal previously, been linked to him. But I think Youri Tielemans, would be good for Manchester United. Like I said, he's available for a reasonable figure. A lot of people said, we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer, because there's a lot of players on our agenda that are available for a reasonable figure. And of course, Youri Tielemans is one of them. I think he's primarily a central midfielder, and obviously that midfield area is one of the priority areas, of course, where we do need to strengthen up. So do you think he'd be good for Manchester United if he was to come in? But I think he remains uncertain about his future at the moment. But at the moment, I think he's expected to return to Monaco as Youri Tielemans. So I think he made about 13 appearances in the Premier League for Leicester, scored about 3 goals. So reportedly Manchester United, Tottenham, and of course Leicester want to get him on a permanent deal. So that is actually the latest news about Youri Tielemans. A bit of additional information to give you an update on in regards to Bruno Fernandes. Now, reportedly now Spurs have entered the race for Bruno Fernandes. It also says that Liverpool have expressed their interest in Bruno Fernandes, because obviously it did say we have scheduled a meeting to get a deal finalised for Bruno Fernandes. Well, initially wanted to get a deal finalised for Bruno Fernandes sometime this week. I think he did say we're set to get him in a deal worth around £71 million. Obviously, we're willing to offer more than Manchester City, of course, and I think now it does say that initially Manchester City have pulled out of the race for Bruno Fernandes, because we do know mainly it has been Manchester United and Manchester City that have been battling out for his services. But according to Ebola, the Portuguese press, they are now saying Tottenham have entered the race, but it does say we are emerged as the front runners, to currently get the player's signature. So Bruno Fernandes, of course, he's only 24 years of age. Obviously, got a hell of a lot of development in him. Obviously, primarily an attacking midfielder, but obviously he's been one of Manchester United's priority targets. Obviously, he's been on our agenda, for quite some time. But we're willing to offer more than Manchester City, because initially he said City were only willing to offer around £50 million for his services. Well, he did say that also they're willing to offer a couple of their players as part of the deal. But there's quite a few teams now battling it out for Bruno Fernandes. So it says Liverpool are in for him. Obviously, Tottenham are in for him. Obviously, Tottenham and Liverpool can offer him Champions League football. Obviously, we can't offer him Champions League football for next season. But I still think we are emerged as the front runners, to currently get the player's signature. His initial release clause is around £86 million, but obviously Manchester United and Manchester City are reluctant to trigger his release clause. He's under contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023, but he's had a good couple of seasons, with Sporting Lisbon, and I do believe he can replicate this form in the Premier League, and I do believe he'll succeed in the Premier League. I do believe he'll exceed expectation levels in the Premier League, with Bruno Fernandes. Obviously had a lot of experience playing in Italy, when he was younger, with the likes of San Pandora and Underneath and all that, and he did give us an update on his future the other week, saying he's unsure about his future. He's had a good couple of years with Sporting Lisbon, doesn't know if he'll be spending the 3rd year with them yet, but I think it's looking very likely he will be playing his trade in the Premier League, next season with probably Manchester United. So I think we have scheduled a meeting for next week to currently get a deal finalised. But I think he'll make a massive impact in our midfield. Like I said, he'll bring us them goals that we do need, and obviously he would be the adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. So there's so many midfielders on our agenda. But like I said, Tottenham have got quite a few midfielders on their agenda, of course. Obviously, they're in now for Youri Tielemans. Obviously, they're in for Bruno Fernandes. Well, I think their actual priority target, Tottenham's, is Giovanni Lo Celso from Real Betis, as I give you an update on the other day. Obviously, Tottenham want to do transfer activity this summer. They want to invest, because obviously, Tottenham haven't done any transfer activity in the last couple of windows. I think the last player they signed was Lucas Moura back in January 2018. Obviously, their record signing, of course, is Davinson Sanchez, who they paid, was it around £42 million for from Ajax back in 2017. So obviously, Mauricio Pochettino, does want back in this summer. So Tottenham have got quite a few midfielders on their agenda. Obviously, Christian Eriksen is linked to Real Madrid, so obviously Tottenham are going to looking for a replacement for Christian Eriksen. So initially, Giovanni Lo Celso has been on their agenda. Obviously, I think from Giovanni Lo Celso's perspective, he wants to make the move to Tottenham. I think potentially, it reported last month that Tottenham had put a bid in for him of around £53 million. But obviously, this figure's not going to be enough, for Real Betis to currently offload the player. Obviously, Giovanni Lo Celso's 23 years of age. I think also Manchester United have been in for him. He has still got a lot of development in him. I think his initial release clause is around £88 million, and I think the Real Betis are demanding for his release clause to be triggered, or they want a figure somewhere along the lines of what his release clause currently is. But like I said, Real Betis got Giovanni Lo Celso last summer from PSG. Initially got him on loan, and then obviously Real Betis made the deal permanent back in April. So obviously PSG do get a percentage of any sale. But yeah, I think he's emerged as a priority target for Tottenham. Tottenham have been in talks with Real Betis over getting a deal concluded and all that. But obviously they haven't come to an agreement yet. So I think probably Tottenham are seeing Bruno Fernandes as an alternative to Giovanni Lo Celso. But definitely Giovanni Lo Celso wants to move to Tottenham. I think he scored 16 goals in all competitions last season in La Liga with Real Betis. So Tottenham have got quite a few midfielders on their agenda. But like I said, with Bruno Fernandes, I think Manchester United should get a deal over the line for him. I think his move to Manchester United now is looking very imminent, but I think it probably will be finalised sometime next week, because I think that's when Manchester United of course have scheduled the meeting. So that is the latest news about Bruno Fernandes. But Bruno Fernandes did deny having any negotiations with Manchester United over the potential move to Old Trafford. So we do potentially know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer he's worked out his transfer strategy. He obviously wants to recommend young players to come in. He's not intending on bringing any short-term players to the club. Obviously, he wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the club. Obviously, he wants to full areas where he thinks Manchester United are lacking. Like I said, £250 million is it, or £200 million should be enough to get us around 4 or 5 players, of course, depending on how we are with our recruitment this summer. I expect probably around 3 or 4 players to leave Manchester United this summer. Probably 3 or 4 will currently leave. Obviously, it's very essential that we get a director of footballing before the start of next season. That's a structural change that we do need at the club, getting a director of footballing. There has been quite a few candidate names mentioned, but obviously we want to get someone who's got the experience, someone who of course knows the culture of the club. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still believes we can attract players to the highest level, even though we're not in a Champions League football for next season. I know we've been playing catch up for the last 5 or 6 years. Obviously, since Ferguson left, a lot of money has been spent at Manchester United. We've had different managers with different philosophies, of course, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, none of the squad's so he's still in the process of rebuilding. Obviously, he's inheriting 11 of Jose Mourinho's players. There's players here from Van Gaal. There's Matty from the David Moyes era. There's 4 or 5 players here still from the Alex Ferguson era, of course. So he's inheriting all them players. Is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But like I said, Solskjaer was saying towards the back end of last season that he had been, contacted by a number of agents, saying that their players do want to come to Manchester United. Some people have said, like I said, if we can get the right players this summer, some people said we can win the league next season. It's not going to happen, mate. We're at least 3 or 4 years off, from mounting any kind of title challenge up. We're 8 years off, I think, from winning the Premier League. And like I said, I think, at the moment, City is strides ahead of us. Liverpool is strides ahead of us. So it's very imperative that we do catch up with likes of City and Liverpool. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is working on trying to bring the right players in who he thinks are going to fit the culture of the club, who he thinks are going to fit the history of the club. And he's obviously working on trying to also keep his imperative players at the football club. But like I said, the spending's been around £200 million. Obviously, it's going to mount up to a lot more than that if we're cashing for Pogba, if we're cashing for Romelu Lukaku. But there's a possibility chance now that Pogba and Lukaku could remain at the football club. But I think it will be beneficial because it will help us with our rebuilding process. It will also help us us with our transition. But you can see the deficiencies in the squad, and you can pinpoint the areas, you know, where we are lacking. I think also, you know, another problem is, you know, we have let far too many contract players contracts run down. Obviously, you know, Rashford's in the final year of his deal. I don't think Manchester United are orchestrating on, you know, selling Marcus Rashford, because we know that he's the long-term solution for Manchester United. I know his performances have been very inconsistent in the last couple of months, very inconsistent, but he's still a long-term solution. He's still very young. Obviously, you know, hasn't graduated to that level yet, and it's going to take him a couple of years, you know, to get him to that level, you know, where he currently wants to be. Obviously, did sustain quite a few injuries, you know, last season. I think that taking its toll on Marcus Rashford, and obviously, you know, he's supposed to be a more effective centrally. Obviously, you know, we have been in talks of getting him a new contract. We have not got him a new contract yet, but hopefully somewhere along the line we can. But he's only in the final year of his deal. He's in the final year of his deal, and he's only 21 years of age. So Rashford's still got him a lot of years ahead of him. It's looking like that Juan Mata's going to be leaving the football club. Obviously, you know, we failed to agree a contract extension for Juan Mata. Looking like, you know, he's going to be leaving. Obviously, you know, De Gea's in the final year of his contract. It's looking very likely that David De Gea is going to be leaving Manchester United. Obviously, at least for the last year and a half, or maybe even longer. You know, we've been in the process of trying to get him a new contract, but obviously De Gea is demanding that he wants around £350,000 a week. Obviously, you know, we're not willing to meet his current wage demands, of course, and obviously now I think PSG have stepped their interest up in David De Gea, because obviously, you know, Buffon is set to leave PSG. I think it did initially say PSG are preparing to put a bid in for him of around £60 million. Obviously, I think that's his probably likely destination if he does leave Manchester United. But like I said, you know, want to cash in for De Gea this summer rather than letting go on a free transfer next year, because that would be a calamity if we let David De Gea go on a free transfer next year. So we want to cash in for him this summer. Obviously, you know, we do know that at full value for the goalkeeper he's worth £100 million. Is De Gea, definitely, because he's the best goalkeeper in the world. But we're not going to get £100 million because he's only got a year left on his contract. Obviously, we do know Real Madrid have been long admirers of him. Reflecting back in 2015, you know, Real Madrid were on the brink of getting him, but obviously due to a fax machine, a deal never materialised. I think also Juventus have been interesting, but De Gea has been a long servant here. You know, he's been here 8 years, made over 300 appearances in all competitions. You know, won everything here domestically. You know, won the club's player of the year 4 times in the last 6 years. So initially, I want David De Gea to stay at Manchester United, and I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows how imperative he is. In his current deal at the moment, he's on 200 grand a week, so he's potentially demanding a £150,000 pay rise if he's to sign a new contract with Manchester United. And he's 28. You know, he's had a great career with us so far, and he's still got quite a lot of development in him as David De Gea. But, you know, to be quite honest with you, I can see him leaving Manchester United. Obviously, like I said, there's been quite a few teams in there for him, but I think initially PSG were intending on getting him on a free transfer next year. So obviously, you know, that could tempt them, you know, to offer him a bigger salary. But PSG are willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands. And like I said, I think, you know, we need to buy a goalkeeper to replace him if he leaves, of course. I don't think it's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans to buy a goalkeeper to replace him, because I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is willing to promote Sergio Romero as our number one goalkeeper. Now, I thought Romero was very impressive in the FA Cup games last season, but I don't know if he's yet reliable enough, you know, to become our number one goalkeeper. I don't know if he's reliable enough, you know, to become our number one goalkeeper. Obviously, we have got Dean Henderson, but like I said, with Dean Henderson, he's too inexperienced at the moment. You know, he needs to gain a bit more experience. He has been on loan with Sheffield United as Dean Henderson. Obviously, we've got the likes of Lee Grant. Obviously, I think he's going to be going in the summer. But yeah, like I said, you know, we're going to need to buy a goalkeeper to replace David De Gea, even though it's initially not in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plan, so it's looking like De Gea's going. Obviously, we do know that Valencia is leaving Manchester United. Obviously, he served 10 years at the club. I think it remains uncertain where his next destination is going to be. Is he going to go to Ecuador? Is he going to retire? I don't know what's currently happening, you know, with Antonio Valencia, but I do know he's definitely, you know, leaving the club. But we definitely need a right back. You know, we need a replacement for Valencia. We need an upgrade to Ashley Young, and we need a covered up for Diego Dalot, because obviously Ashley Young has no longer got the abilities, you know, to fulfil that right back position. Obviously, you know, it was a bad mistake for Manchester United, you know, giving Ashley Young a new 1 year extension. Obviously, Young's been a long-serving player here. You know, he's been here 8 years. I think he's made over 300 odd appearances in all competitions. But obviously, you know, he's one of the problematic players at Manchester United. It's Ashley Young. So obviously, I think he's going to be given the captaincy as well for next season. But like I currently said, you know, I think Ashley Young, you know, when he was younger, younger. I thought he was a really good winner, was Ashley Young. So he has grown and developed very well, but he's too inconsistent now. He's past his sell-by date. How old is he now? 33, nearly 34 years of age. And by the time that 1 year extension expires, Ashley Young, will be nearly 35 years old. So there's been quite a few right backs on our current agenda. So there has been a lot of talks about Thomas Meunier going on. Obviously, it's Manchester United and Arsenal that have battled it out for his current services. But I think from Thomas Meunier's perspective, his preferred destination is Manchester United because it's looking very imminent. He's going to be leaving PSG, Meunier. But I think he got revealed he is a Manchester United fan. He has been a Manchester United fan, since he was a child, Thomas Meunier. So I think he's available for a reasonable figure. I think he's set to join Manchester United in a deal worth around £22 million. He said this the other week. But I think initially PSG wanted around between 22 to 25 million pounds for him. He's only got a year left on his contract with PSG. But I do think he's got the abilities, to elevate Manchester United at least in the next 2 to 3 years. He's a highly experienced fullback. He's 27. So I'd still probably say he's got at least about 3 or 4 years left in him. Obviously, he hasn't played in the Premier League as yet. Obviously, he's been at PSG, about 3 years, made 101 appearances. I think PSG got him from Club Brugge for around £5 million. So he is predominantly a right back. He can play in other positions. I think he can play as a left back. I think he can also play as a right winger, but he can play in other positions. So he's very versatile. So that's very beneficial indeed. But obviously, Arsenal have inquired about his services because obviously he's played under Unai Thomas Meunier. Obviously, I thought Thomas Meunier was more of a first team starter for PSG when Unai was there. But since Unai left, he has found himself serving his 2 requirements, and this is maybe the main factor reason why Thomas Meunier is obviously linked with a move away from Paris Saint-Germain. But he's definitely going to be leaving PSG, so it's looking very imminent. He's coming to Manchester United. Don't get me wrong, quite a bit of this, some of this, could be some of this what it's saying in the media, could be stemming from his current agent, but it is Manchester United and Arsenal that are in for him, of course. But yeah, that's a reasonable figure. £22 million for Thomas Meunier, and I really like him a lot. And as I was potentially saying, as I was potentially saying, he's a much cheaper alternative than Wan-Bissaka is Thomas Meunier, because obviously Wan-Bissaka has been another potential target, for Manchester United, of course. And don't get me wrong, I really like Wan-Bissaka a lot. He's been on our agenda for quite some time, and I do believe he's on our agenda. But obviously, what recent things have said about Thomas Meunier, I think we have prioritised Thomas Meunier over Wan-Bissaka, because obviously Thomas Meunier is going to substantially cost us a lot less than Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, it came out, was it the other week, saying that Crystal Palace wanted around 60 or £70 million for Wan-Bissaka. I don't think Manchester United are willing to pay up to that much for Wan-Bissaka, but very good indeed. Only 21 years of age, got a hell of a lot of development in him. Obviously, would fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly. Premier League proven. I think he's been in Crystal Palace's senior squad is at about 15 months. I think he made about 40. I think so far has made about 40 senior appearances for Crystal Palace. Has got 3 years left on his contract with Crystal Palace. His defensive capabilities are very good. But even if Wan-Bissaka, doesn't leave Crystal Palace this summer, obviously, at some point in his career, you want to take his footballing career to the next level. But like I said, so far, he has spent the entirety of his career with Crystal Palace. I think he has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation because he is regarded as one of the best right-backs in the Premier League. Initially, when he was younger, he was a winner, but as he was developing and growing that, obviously, he got rotated as a right-back, did Wan-Bissaka. So it did come out the other week saying that, I think we'd submitted around a £25 million bid for him. But obviously, this isn't going to be enough, to convince Crystal Palace to offload him, of course, because they want around 60 or £70 million for him, of course. But I really like Wan-Bissaka a lot. So, yeah, he should be really our first choice. But obviously, we've got Meunier, who's obviously a lot more experienced than Wan-Bissaka. And obviously, he's going to substantially, cost us a lot less than that Wan-Bissaka. So, I think it's looking likely that Thomas Meunier is going to be coming in. Like I did say to you as well, there's quite a few defensive midfielders on our agenda, because I think that's that's one of the priority areas where we've got to strengthen up. Like I said, Matic is too inconsistent at the moment. I've got strong reservations about him, plus he's aging up and he's too slow. Obviously, Fellaini left back in January. Obviously, Scott McTominay, he's too inexperienced. I know McTominay, proved himself towards the back end of last season. He was playing between the lines very well, and he did really well. He did well, but like I said, he's too inexperienced at the moment. So I do believe we need centre defensive midfielder. Obviously, there's been a lot of talks going on about Thomas Partey. I think Heard about this the other week of what was going on about Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid. It recently came out saying that he wants to make the move to England. Obviously, this was stemming from his current father. He basically said that Thomas Partey, wants to make the move to England. Obviously, I think he has spent the majority of his career so far with Atletico Madrid. He's 25 years of age, so he has still got a lot of development in him. It has been Manchester United and Arsenal that have been in for him. They've obviously have inquired about his services. He's a central defensive midfielder. Only, like I said, only 25 years of age. I think his initial release clause is around £43 million in his contract with Atletico Madrid. I think he's under contract with Atletico Madrid until 2023. Is Thomas Partey. So there has been a lot of talks about him, going on. Obviously, we do know Declan Rice has been on our agenda. Like I said, I really like Declan Rice a lot. Primarily defensive midfielder, holds his line really well. Well Premier League proven. Initially, learned his trade in the Premier League. Declan Rice, and I'd love him, to come to Manchester United. He has been on Manchester United's agenda, for quite some time. He did say West Ham would want in the excess of around £50 million if they were willing to do any business for him. But I do really like him a lot, and I think he's exceeded expectation levels at West Ham as Declan Rice. And even if he doesn't leave West Ham this summer, I think at some point in his career, want to take his footballing career to the next level, go to a competitive elite level football club, playing Champions League football and all that. Will Declan Rice, because he's done fantastic for West Ham. He's been there a number of years now. He's been in their senior squad a couple of years. I think he signed a new long-term contract with them back in December of last year, so he is under contract with them now until 2024. But he did really well last season. He did really well last season under Manuel Pellegrini, and last season was only Manuel Pellegrini's first season at West Ham. Initially, Declan Rice began his career with Chelsea as a youngster. I think he initially joined their youth academy at the age of just 7. Obviously, I think he was in Chelsea's youth academy, for a number of years, and I think in the end he got axed off by Chelsea at the age of 14. But he's great. He's flourishing, fantastically well. He's Declan Rice, so I would love him at Manchester United, of course. And I think he's primarily defensive midfielder. Can play as a centre back, but primarily a defensive midfielder. Only 20. Also British, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer emphasised an interest in quite a few British players. As I've obviously been giving him an update as well in regards to James Maddison from Leicester, of course. Obviously, we're in, as I said, Youri Tielemans, we're in for him. We're also in for James Maddison, of course. I think, if I'm right, I think a report came out from the Metro yesterday saying that he wants to stay at Leicester, even though he's aware of the speculation. Of course, the likes of City have been in for him, Liverpool are in for him, Tottenham are in for him. But obviously, they've been linked to him for a number of years. They've been tracking James Maddison, since he was a teenager at Coventry. But reports came out, was it about 3 or 4 days ago, saying that his preferred destination, was Manchester United, of course. He did say, we emerged him as a priority target. He did say we made initial contact, with, James Maddison and his current representatives over the potential move to Old Trafford. He did say it would cost around £60 million. This is what Leicester said they currently wanted. And I think I did say, Manchester United, would be more than happy, to pay £60 million for James Maddison's services. I don't think no formal bid has been put in as yet, but I really like James Maddison a lot, and I think he has got if he came to Manchester United, he'd have the abilities, to elevate Manchester United at least in the next 2 to 3 years. Obviously, he's had a year of experience under his belt in the Premier League. Obviously, did really well with Leicester last season. Obviously, scored 7 goals, provided 7 assists, so was involved in 14 goals. Obviously, created more chances than any other player. So reportedly, Leicester want around £60 million for him. He is an attacking midfielder, so obviously, he would be the adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. He's also British, 22 years of age, and obviously has got a hell of a lot of development in him. I think he has got some reservations about joining Manchester United, because obviously, we're not in Champions League football for next season. But if Leicester were to get £60 million for him, obviously, they'd get treble the money that they initially paid for him, and they'd gain around a £40 million profit, because obviously Leicester got him from Norwich last summer for £20 million. Obviously, he signed a 5-year deal with Leicester, so he's under contract with them until 2023. So there has been a lot of talks about James Maddison going on. So obviously, there's a lot of midfielders on our agenda. Like I said though about Paul Pogba, there's still a possibility, chance, that he could remain at Manchester United. Obviously, we do know it has been looking very imminent. He is set to leave the club, because obviously, from Paul Pogba's perspective, he does want to leave Manchester United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows how much of an imperative player he is, Paul Pogba, and I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is doing everything he can to try and convince Paul Pogba to remain at the football club. Obviously, it came out the other week. Obviously, it came out the other week saying that, Solskjaer was willing to offer him the captaincy in a bid to convince him to stay at the club. But obviously, this isn't going to be enough, to convince Paul Pogba to remain at the football club. But based on the huge transfer fee that we have put on him, this could be the stumbling block of Paul Pogba, leaving Manchester United. So we do know Real Madrid are in for him. Also, recent reports have said that Juventus are interested in re-signing him. I do believe Paul Pogba's first choice preference is Real Madrid, and I still believe if he leaves Manchester United, he will make the move to Real Madrid. But obviously, as it came out from Sky Sports a couple of days ago, it says Juventus are interested in re-signing Paul Pogba. It did basically say this was coming from Damasio, who's a very reliable Italian journalist. He basically said that Juventus have made initial contact with Manchester United. No formal bid has been put in as yet, and obviously Juventus have been in negotiations with his agent Raiola. So potentially Juventus, I don't think, would be able to get him in a straight cash payment. They wouldn't be able to afford him outright. So I think Juventus have to orchestrate some out. So I think Juventus may have to offload a couple of their essential players as part of the deal in a bid to sign Paul Pogba. So Juventus would have to offload a couple of their essential players because they wouldn't be able to afford a straight cash payment. Because initially, we don't want to sell him, but I think if we've no choice, I think we want around 150 or 160 million pounds, of course. And I think Real Madrid are reluctant, to pay up to 150 or 160 million pounds for him. Obviously, it came out in the press quite a few days ago saying that Real Madrid were willing to offer up to 3 of their players, in a bid to sign Paul Pogba, because obviously Real Madrid and obviously Florentino Perez and that are not keen on getting Paul Pogba on a straight cash payment. Obviously, a lot of reports were coming out from Spain the other week, and also coming out from a very reliable Spanish journalist that basically said, Paul Pogba to Real Madrid is practically done. Obviously, he's agreed a massive pay cut in his salary, because it came out, was it about 3 or 4 weeks ago, saying that talks had stalled, between Paul Pogba and Real Madrid, based on his 13 million a year wage demands. Obviously, Real Madrid were not willing to meet his wage demands. So it did say his salary a year was set to be reduced from 13 million to 10 million. So obviously, it did say his wages were set to drop by around 3 million pounds a year. But obviously, they haven't come to an agreement on initial fee. But obviously, Paul Pogba's still under contract with Manchester United. I think he's got until 2022, is it? So he has still got 3 years left on his contract. Well, initially 2 years with an option of a further year. But we do know at least last 5 or 6 weeks, at least, maybe even longer, that Paul Pogba's agent Raiola has been in the process of finding him a new club. But maybe Paul Pogba, would be open, to making the return back to Turin. Obviously, he had 4 good years there before he did make the return to Manchester United. He did really, really well in his 4 years with Juventus, won 4 Serie A's on the trot. Obviously, won, was it 2 Coppa Italians, and he exceeded expectation levels, but he hasn't really replicated this form since he's come back to Manchester United. Obviously, we paid £89 million for him in 2016. Obviously, our most expensive signing. Obviously, we've got a history of spending a big on players, especially in recent years. A prime example, like I've just said, Paul Pogba, 89 million. Lukaku, 75 million pounds. Like I said, it's not always about getting the Galactico praise. It's not always about spending big on players. You can get the best players in the world if you're not playing as a unit and you're not playing as a team. It's not going to get you in that commanding position, of course, where you do currently want to be. But we did pay £89 million for him. But obviously, we had Paul Pogba, when he was a lot younger. Obviously, under the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, we got him from Lee Harvey in 2009. Obviously, risen up the ranks for a couple of years. Then went on to make a couple of first team appearances under Alex Ferguson. But obviously, based on limited appearances, obviously, Paul Pogba left the club on a free transfer. And obviously, went and had 4 good years in Turin. But we do know last year, Paul Pogba was subjected to a lot of transfer speculation, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. Obviously, he was linked with, I think Juventus were linked to him last year. I think also Barcelona were linked to him last year. And obviously, Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes last year when Jose Mourinho got sacked from the club. And obviously, you can say Paul Pogba, he's still arguably one of the best midfielders in world football, when he's playing in the right vein, when he's playing in the right manner. And he was in absolutely scintillating form, was Paul Pogba, in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first 3 months as interim manager. But like I said, he hasn't really been the fundamental player at Manchester United as we all thought he currently would have been. And maybe the couple of main factor reasons reasons why he does want to leave the club, because maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players. Maybe he wants to be, challenging, wants to be in Champions League football and all that, wants to be winning trophies, and obviously, he's not experiencing this Manchester United, of course. So there may be a couple of main factor reasons why he wants to leave. Paul Pogba's 26. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. So basically, he's still in his prime. But Zinedine Zidane has instructed his Real Madrid board, to prioritise a transfer for Paul Pogba, because obviously Zinedine Zidane wants to link Paul Pogba up with Casemiro in his Real Madrid midfield. Obviously, Zinedine Zidane's got a lot of players on his agenda this summer, because players are expected to leave Real Madrid. But obviously, his two main priority targets, of course, are Paul Pogba and Chelsea's Eden Hazard. So yeah, so it still remains uncertain if Paul Pogba is going to be leaving the club. But from his own perspective, he does want to leave Manchester United. Like I did basically say as well about João Felix from Benfica. Obviously, I've been giving you an update about him on a regular basis. Obviously, it is Manchester United and Manchester City that are in for João Felix. Only 19 years of age. Last season was only his first season in the senior squad with Benfica, but he did really, really well indeed. He's not yet made his senior debut for Portugal. But like I said, Man United have been scouting him now for a long time. I think the rumours have continued to persist since like January, linking João Felix with a move to Manchester United. But obviously, he's been on Manchester City's agenda for quite some time. Obviously, Real Madrid have been in there. Liverpool inquired about his services in January. But I like João Felix a lot. And I do believe he can emulate into one of the best players in the world, without a shadow of a doubt, because he's got a hell of a lot of development in him. And I do believe he'd succeed in the Premier League if he comes to the Premier League, and he'd exceed expectation levels in the Premier League. And he was really, really good last season, with Benfica. And I do believe he can replicate this in the Premier League, without a shadow of a doubt. But I think initially Benfica have made it clear if they are willing to sell João Felix, they want his 105 million buyout clause triggered. He is primarily an attacking midfielder, can also play as a winner, can also play as a striker and a secondary striker. So very, very versatile indeed, João Felix, of course. So maybe he will want to rejuvenate his career. But even if João Felix, doesn't leave Benfica this summer, obviously at some point in his career, may want to take his footballing career to the next level. But yeah, it has been Manchester United and Manchester City that have been in for him. Yeah, it has been Manchester United and Manchester City that have been in for him. And as I've been updating you on a regular basis about Matthias de Ligt from Ajax, of course. Basically, his future is up in the air at the moment. I think it's looking very imminent. He is going to be leaving Ajax, but I still think at the moment it remains uncertain, where he will be applying his trade next season. Obviously being subjected to so much. What are you doing, Bev?
I'm putting some clothes in there.
He's been subjected to a hell of a lot of transfer speculation, of course, but I think it came out about, was it 3 or 4 days ago, saying that he was set to inform Manchester United about a decision over his future. I think Matthias de Ligt has been urged to make a decision on his future, sometime this week. So we should know sometime this week or next week, where his current future lies ahead of him. But, the likes of Manchester United have been in there for him, Barcelona, Liverpool, Manchester City have previously been linked to him, PSG, Juventus. So there is so many teams that are interested in him, of course. But we do know at least in the last couple of months that Barcelona have been in the ascendancy, of course. It only came out from Sky Sports the other week saying that he's set to join Barcelona and his Matthias de Ligt, because I think from his own perspective his preferred destination was Barcelona, and I still believe Barcelona are in there for him. But it came out the other week saying that talks had stalled, between Matthias de Ligt and Barcelona. Obviously, based on the financial demands, obviously, Barcelona were not willing to meet the terms, and they were not willing to meet what de Ligt was demanding, what his agent Raiola was demanding. So it did say talks had stalled, between Matthias de Ligt and Barcelona. In terms of the transfer fees, he's going to cost you from between probably 70 to 75 million pounds. It did literally say the other day that Juventus had put a bid in for him of around 75 million pounds. But I really, really like Matthias de Ligt a lot. It did say Manchester United have offered him a lucrative contract, worth up to 355 £60,000 a week. Obviously this equates to almost £17 million a year, and obviously if this was to process, this would make him the highest paid teenager in world football, obviously as well making one of the highest paid players in the club. But Matty Ligt is aware of the speculation. Obviously he did come out and say he admitted he's got several options on the table, but obviously he's going to pick the best one. He has suggested he has got a preferred option, but I don't think it's been revealed yet which club that is. So obviously he hasn't made a decision on his future as yet. It came out in the press, was it about 4 or 5 days ago, saying that Louis van Gaal has actually urged him to join Manchester City and turn down a move to Manchester United. But I think actually Matty Ligt agent Raiola actually from his preference wants Matty Ligt to join Liverpool. So he wants him actually, he wants his client to join Liverpool, because we do know Liverpool have been in for him. Like I said, I think the main factor reason why Liverpool have been interesting, because obviously Liverpool have got Van Dijk, and obviously Van Dijk and Matty Ligt know each other really, really well. They're both Dutch. They're both playing the Netherlands national team, even though initially, Liverpool don't even need a central defender, looking at it, because Virgil van Dijk suggests their defensive deficiencies really, really well. Obviously, the most expensive defender in world football at the moment is Virgil van Dijk, who Liverpool, like I said, paid £75 million for back in January 2018. So he has been at Liverpool about 15 16 months now. So basically Raiola wants his client to basically join Liverpool, and that was what was basically said. Manchester City have been in for him because they're looking for a replacement for Vincent Kompany. Obviously he left Manchester City after serving 11 years with Manchester City. So these are so many teams that have inquired about his services. But I think it did say at one point we were merged as the front runners to currently get the players' signature, because we were willing to outbid any other club for his current services. But it reported from them Metro the other day that he has actually ruled out a move to Manchester United, because obviously we're not in a Champions League football for next season. But I do believe we are still in there for him. Obviously he's a central defender. Obviously he's about he's over 6 foot, so he's very, very tall as well, and I do believe he would exceed expectation levels in the Premier League without a shadow of a doubt. But I still, like I said, I still believe Barcelona are in there. Barcelona have obviously already got a deal over the line for his current teammate Frankie de Jong. Obviously Barcelona got him for around £65 million, of course. And but like I said, he'd address our defensive deficiencies really, really well. Obviously we need a central defender. That's very, very essential indeed. We need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof. Should I say, let me rephrase that, we need 2 central defenders. Obviously last summer we didn't get as number 1 priority targets for him. We only ended up getting 3 players last summer. Obviously reflecting back last summer, the board weren't back in the signings that Jose Mourinho, of course, wanted to recommend to come in. And obviously the main factor reason why it didn't work out under Mourinho, because obviously he had bad disputes with the board, had bad disputes over the players, and the board weren't, like I just said, the board weren't back in the signings that he wanted to recommend to come in. That's why it didn't work out under him, even though he did win 2 trophies in his first season with Manchester United. But our priority was to get a centre-back in last summer, because I don't think we've had a world-class centre-back, since we had the likes of Vidic, since we had the likes of Ferdinand. But I think Matty Ligt, definitely would be the right solution for Manchester United. He'd fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly. Very young, only 19 years of age. I think he's made about 117 senior appearances for Ajax. Got named captain at the age of 18, made his senior debut at the age of 17, and he has become an integral part of Ajax's squad. But I think it's looking very imminent. He's going to be leaving Ajax. Obviously, he enjoyed a good season last season. Winning a domestic double for the first time in 17 years. With Ajax, that's the first time Ajax have won the domestic double in 17 years. Obviously, as well, winning the out-of-ice title for the first time since 2014, and obviously, progressing to the Champions League semi-final. I do believe Matty Ligt became more of a first-team starter in Ajax's squad when obviously, Davinson Sanchez left for Tottenham back in 2017. So obviously, Matty Ligt so far has spent the entirety of his career with Ajax. I think he's been in Ajax player since the age of 8, the age of 9. I think he also won the Golden Boy Award last year. So it still remains uncertain, what his next club is going to be. But I would love him to come to the Premier League, Matty Ligt, because it would take his footballing career to the next level, of course. So I think we have now emerged him as a priority target. To be quite honest with you, I think Manchester United are still in there, but I don't see Manchester United getting him, because obviously there's a number of other clubs out there that can, offer him Champions League football and all that, and obviously, we can't. But like I said, I do believe in the next couple of seasons, our aspirations is going to be that top 4, without a shadow of a doubt. It's going to be top 4, our aspirations, of course. And like I said earlier on the video, it's very imperative, that we catch up with the likes of City and Liverpool. I do believe City are probably probably going to invest this summer, even though they have spent a hell of a lot of money under Pep Guardiola. Obviously, the majority of the money Pep Guardiola has spent has obviously, been on that Manchester City team. Obviously, Liverpool had a great window last summer. They got 5 good players in. But I do believe, they'll invest. Arsenal will find it hard to have a competitive window this summer because obviously, they're not in Champions League football for next season. Obviously, they were only restricted to loan signings back in January. But yeah, Chelsea, I'm not too sure about them. They probably will invest depending if their transfer ban gets overturned or not. But obviously, if it doesn't, they can't do any transfer activity in the next couple of windows. Can Chelsea? So we have got to get our priority targets this summer. But I still believe players, do want to come to Manchester United because we are still one of the biggest. We are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We are the most successful club in England. Historically, of course, we've won 13 Premier League titles. Obviously, 20 all in all. But I know we've been a toxic club at least for the last 5 or 6 years, but we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We've got a fantastic fan base, but Solskjaer does want to bring at least 5 new additions to the squad. So he does want to bring at least 5 new additions to the squad. Obviously, I've already given you the latest news of what's been happening, with Romelu Lukaku, of course, because, like I said with Lukaku, there's still a possibility chance, that he could remain at the football club Lukaku. Obviously, based on the huge transfer fee that we have put on him. I think it came out last week saying that we want around £80 million for Lukaku. We do know Inter Milan have been heavily linked with him. But like I said, we're looking to recoup the majority of the money that we did pay for him from Everton back in 2017. Obviously, we got him for £75 million, plus there were 15 million add-ons included, so it initially risen it to £90 million. Obviously, he's still got 3 years left on his contract, and he's on about £250,000 a week. Of course, he's Romelu Lukaku. So potentially, based on the huge transfer fee we've put on him, this could be the stumbling block of Lukaku making his move to Inter Milan. This could be the stumbling block of Lukaku making his move to Inter Milan. Also, that could be the stumbling block of Lukaku making his move to Inter Milan is obviously due to the financial fair play rules. Reportedly, Inter Milan have got to raise around £40 million before the end of this month, to meet financial fair play regulations. So this could obviously be another stumbling block. But I don't think Inter Milan are going to be keen on willing to pay up to £80 million for Romelu Lukaku. Potentially, Antonio Conte got appointed as Inter Milan's new manager last week, and obviously, he's he's identified Romelu Lukaku as his number one target, of course, but obviously it is his number one target, so Inter Milan want to get a deal over the line for him. I think we want to sell Romelu Lukaku because I think it would be beneficial for us. Obviously, he's one of the problematic players at Manchester United. Obviously, he's not anymore assured of first team football. This is why we can't keep him, because obviously we know mainly Rashford is first choice ahead of him. Lukaku, I think, scored about 42 goals across 2 seasons for Manchester United. He's been here a couple of years. Obviously, he enjoyed a difficult time in his second season, of course, because he found himself served his 2 requirements, and he's now served his 2 requirements at Manchester United. He did well in his first season. I think he scored 27 goals in all competitions, but obviously didn't replicate that in his second season. Manchester United have told him that he can leave the club. Obviously, as you all know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has told him he's served his 2 requirements, but it did say everything else has been agreed. It said Inter Milan have agreed the personal terms with Lukaku. It said also Inter Milan have agreed like a 5-year deal with Romelu Lukaku worth around £7.5 million a year, plus bonus requirements involved, and it also said Inter Milan are willing to meet his wage demands, and it even said Lukaku himself is willing to take a pay cut to join Inter Milan, but we need to get rid of him because I've got strong reservations about him. But credit him, his ratio's still very good in the Premier League. He has scored a lot of goals in the Premier League. He's well Premier League proven. His pedigree is really, really good in the Premier League. But we have got to get rid of Romelu Lukaku. So maybe Inter Milan have got to orchestrate something out. Maybe Inter Milan may have to offload one of their players as part of the deal. I think they have actually offered us Mario Icardi, I think, as part of the deal with Lukaku, but I don't think Solskjaer wants Icardi. Obviously, it came out the other week saying that Inter Milan were willing to offer us £30 million plus Ivan Perisic as part of the deal, but obviously the Ivan Perisic is no longer a Manchester United target. But yeah, like I currently said, we have got to get rid of Lukaku because I've got strong reservations about him. His first touch concerns me. He's a big game bottler, never rises up to the occasion against the big teams. He's not really good in the air. His footballing ability, he hasn't got that endless potential. So I've got so many strong reservations about him. But like I said, it's probably £200 million plus. If we sell Lukaku, if we sell Paul Pogba, or at least £200 million for the pair of them. So obviously, that's going to help us with our rebuilding process. But we have got to be ruthless in this summer transfer transfer window without a shadow of a doubt. So we'll see what happens anyway. But the main part of this video, was to give you the latest news about Youri Tielemans. Obviously, he was pivotal under Leicester's transformation under Brendan Rodgers. Leicester know how impressive he has been for them since he's gone out on loan with them. So I think Leicester now want to get him on a permanent deal. I think he still remains uncertain about his future at the moment. But Youri Tielemans is where the speculation. Manchester United are in for him. Obviously, Tottenham, of course, are in for him. Like I said, Tottenham have got quite a few midfielders on their agenda. Youri Tielemans, though, is only 22 years of age and he's available for a reasonable figure. I think Monaco, initially rate him at around £40 million. But I think from his own perspective, he's set to make the return back to France. Is Youri Tielemans. But yeah, he's had about 5 months' experience under his belt in the Premier League, of course. And obviously, I think he's one of our targets if Paul Pogba, of course, is to leave the football club. So there has been a lot of talks about him going on. With the Bruno Fernandes, as I said, Liverpool and Spurs have reportedly entered the race. It came out the other week, or was it early on this week? Bruno Fernandes did admit that he likes Liverpool, but I do believe we're in the ascendancy of getting a deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes. And that's mainly everything to update you today, guys. So anyway, drop your comments, likes, below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.